Hello everybody and welcome back to Blanche Fitness. It's Wednesday and you know what that means. It's time for Jump Around, our weekly cardio class. And first things first, I hope that y'all have changed your Twitch passwords and enabled two-factor authentication in the wake of the Twitch stuff. And quite frankly, in the wake of all the internet stuff that's happened so far this week. My God, it's only Wednesday. Just go in and change passwords. Make sure you're not using the same password for multiple accounts. Password managers, super valuable tools, and just, two-factor on everything that has it available. All right. Just let's all work on our internet hygiene and our internet safety, because I feel like I know that for myself, I built it up for a long time, and really when I finally started doing it, I was like, this is super simple, and I don't know why I was so worried about it. But yes, change your passwords, my friends, because it's a strange world out there on the internet this week. Our first full week of October, and the tree is starting to turn outside my window. My goodness, fall is actually here. Hi everybody. It's good to see you. It has been a shitty day, mental health wise. Not gonna beat around the bush on that. Pretty bad day for me. But the one thing that I was very sure on was that I wanted to teach. I knew, I had a hard time today, like getting up and moving around particularly much, but I knew that this was here and that I was going to get on here and we were going to have an awesome stream together. So, if you've also had a shitty day, hi, I feel you. And if you've had a great day, hi, I'm really glad. That's really awesome. But no matter what kind of day you've had, I'm incredibly proud of you for being here. So yay, it's definitely been nice to get back to streaming. So I'm going to talk a couple of housekeeping things, just to sort of set up expectations for the next month. So I've been trying to figure out ways to reduce mental load on myself in running these streams, because it's really important to me that I keep doing it, and I love them, and I love getting to teach with y'all. And there's also just a lot going on in my life, and also a lot going on in the world. And, I'm trying to be more deliberate about making sure that I am leaving space for myself, and taking care of myself. So what I'm going to try for this month, and probably next month, is we're not doing like an official program, although, technically it is Rocktober, so it is appropriate to be doing this right now. But we're essentially going to do Rocktober. I'm going to do programs today and Friday, and we're going to ramp them up over the next few weeks. And then I'm going to reassess when we get to November, and depending on where I feel my resources, my energy levels are, we're gonna do another ramp up program. And the reason is this allows me to, class plan once and then be able to have that foundation that I can play around with over the course of the month, but that takes a lot of the stress of class planning every single week, every single time I'm about to stream off of the table. And, I don't know, maybe I will get to the end of October and decide that in November I have the energy to do new class plans each month. But what I sort of realized is that I think I was being a little too precious with these types of month-long programs, and it really is very, very useful for me as a tool to just help make it easier to run class online. And I also really enjoy the programs as just a way for us to be able to truly look back and see how we've been improving over previous weeks with, direct one-to-one correlations. So, welcome to Rocktober, I guess. Surprise, it's back. Holy crap, I can't believe it's Rocktober again. And just keep in mind that we may continue doing cycles of ramp up over the next few months. And we may not, but just I want to level set. That's sort of where I'm thinking that I'm going to go. And I'll keep you posted if that changes. The other big thing, not big thing, the other thing is that I'm keeping chat on emote only for now, unless I know that I have mods around. There's obviously been a ton of shitty behavior in Twitch chats and Twitch communities. And also, I'm a small streamer, I can't afford to hire mods. Yes, mods do an incredible job and should be paid for that job. And I can't afford to hire mods, and I have several friends and loved ones who will take on that duty if they're in stream out of the goodness of their hearts, and I love them and they know who they are, but they can't always make it. I don't have the energy. Again, it's just I'm trying to portion my energy towards the things that will be most valuable. And when I'm teaching, I don't have the ability to effectively moderate the channel at the same time. So, emote only mode, unless I know that there's someone around who can bring the band hammer when I need it. That may change going forward. I may move it to subscriber only chat. I'm not sure. But just, I'm a small streamer, and at this point, I don't have the spoons to deal with worrying about what's happening in chat. So, just keep that in mind. If you come in and you see that it's nothing to do with you, it won't be all the time, but it will be pretty often. So, cool. Housekeeping done. Yay. Let's do class. Yeah, let's do class. I finally, you probably noticed that I finally actually updated my my Twitch banners, my pre-class, and I've also updated the post-class banners so that they actually look like all of my other stuff. Only took me, God, how long have I had that logo from? It's been at least half a year, if not a full year at this point, that I've had that logo and that branding. But better late than never. I have also started uploading backlogs of VODs to my YouTube channel, which is super exciting. So a big chunk went up yesterday of VODs from June. And I think a couple more are gonna go up probably tomorrow. And then I'll sort of get back into the usual Sunday posting schedule. So yes, everything slowly coming back together. Woo. Oh yeah, there's the yawning. Yep, it's been a long day. It's been a long day, but we're here and we're gonna work out, and that in and of itself is a success in my book. You know what? We talk about it a lot. We're here. That's the biggest step that we can take, is to show up. Doesn't have to be pretty. Doesn't have to be the best workout we've ever done. But, we're here and we're demonstrating to ourselves that even if it's been a rough day, we can still take that step and we can still say, well, I may not, fully emotionally believe that I am worth this effort, but I am going to put this effort in anyway. And because of that, helps us to believe it. Woo! Love it. All right, friends, let's do our pre-class checklist. So make sure that you've got your water in whatever vessel you're using. Go ahead, take a quick sip just to see where your hydration levels are. We talk a lot about hydration. It's very important as we head into winter months. I know that I'm drinking way more tea, so I'm going to have to pay attention to upping my water as well. You've got your comfy clothes on, whatever that means to you. You've got your mat or mat-sized space on the floor. And if you use a fitness wearable, we can turn them on now to high intensity interval training. If you don't use one, don't worry about it. This is never a requirement, simply something that I do, and it helps me to remind myself. So if you use it, that's a reminder for you too. Woo! All right, we've got speaker on. We've got sound turned up. We've got the right apps for what we're doing. Do we? Yes, there we go. Hey, yep. All right, my friends, I'd say it's warm-up time. So, everybody, oh gosh. And I sit cross-legged for too long. My legs start to go. All right, let's change this position up. All right, my friends. Oh no, I didn't want you to do that. Show all timer Shooter. Okay. So everybody on your mats, on your backs, 1 foot crossed over the opposite knee, and as soon as that horn goes off, we will begin with hip rocks and bridges. There we go. All right. So everybody, just settling in. We always remember that the warm-up is a boot-up system. It is not an invitation to immediately jump to the top of the mountain in terms of energy output. And, depending on what you are bringing to class today, in terms of how your day has been, how you're feeling mentally, how you're feeling physically, this is a great opportunity to just slowly and steadily prepare yourself for exercise. All right, so we're not needing to go hell for leather here. Remember, this is a 16-minute sequence, and at the end of it, we then have a 45-minute class. All right, change sides. So, you don't want to use up all your energy right now. But if you're in the mood to challenge yourself, I want you to be aware of your energy output during the warm-up. Very few things that I ever say are prescriptive, because again, everybody's body is different, everybody's fitness goals are different, everybody's needs are different. My focus is always reminding us and teaching us to listen to our bodies, listen to what their needs are, how they're interacting with our brains today, and what the overall system needs are. And some days, that means we're just gonna really, all right, we're doing our Jane Fonda's, that's the first of our leg exercises. Some days that means that we're just gonna really do bare minimum movement throughout the warm-up and see how our systems feel at the end of it. And some days, that means that we're coming into our workout feeling really pumped and really wanting to challenge ourselves and wanting to maybe put a little extra energy into the warm-up and just start training our bodies to be able to begin class at that higher energy output and to then have the stamina to still make it through the rest of class, okay? All of these are great ways to work. And, you know, I will focus on different things depending on the day, depending on what I'm feeling, depending on the type of day I've had. All right, top foot in front of the bottom knee, lifting the bottom leg. And that's, you know, that's to be expected, obviously. I can't teach from anyone's perspective but my own. But you also know me well enough to know that really the biggest thing that I advocate for, and the biggest thing I try to help train you to do, is have those conversations with yourself, with your body, with your brain, so that instead of being over here being like, man, well, I really kind of want to punch at Chewy today, but, you know, Blanche tells me that we're supposed to, you know, be pretty relaxed during the warm-up, so I guess I'll follow what they tell me. Look, if you're looking to challenge yourself today, if you're looking to punch it and see how, all right, beach pose, I mean, and see how you're able to make it through the rest of class, go for it. Absolutely. Just keep listening to your body, remembering to focus on form, remembering to pull back for movements that activate your injury map, remembering that stopping is always an acceptable thing to do if you need to do it, okay? And remembering that we are always working on learning how to recognize those, oh my God, stop signals and differentiate them from the, oh man, this is uncomfortable signals, because they're two very different signal sets. And, you know, they both will happen with some frequency, and you can absolutely distinguish between them, but it takes development of that relationship. All right, second side for our leg sequence. So, yeah, nothing, I keep saying nothing. Very few things are proscriptive in this class. Non-negotiables for me, form is a non-negotiable. That is the single most important thing that we do, making sure that we are paying attention to how we are performing the exercise, making sure that we are not setting ourselves up for injury by performing it incorrectly, or by trying to push ourselves so far that the last chunk of reps are just have no form whatsoever. That's a pretty big non-negotiable here. Form is the basis, it's the foundation of everything we do. All right, top foot in front of that bottom knee, lifting the bottom leg, okay? And that doesn't change no matter what. But most other things, you know, I will focus on things as I feel them, as I think of them, but always remember that really overall, we're building our tool set, we're building our common language around exercise so that I can still be, you know, the guide, I can set out the steps that we're doing, but you have the tools to make the determination of what's the intensity that I'm going to put into this today. You know, is today the day that I try a more difficult version of this exercise, or am I feeling injured and need to pull back on something, or just not do that exercise entirely? All right, I want to give you the tools that you need to be able to make those decisions in any class, during any activity that you do, okay? And I want to help you to build the confidence too, to know that if there is a teacher who is trying to bully you into doing something that feels unsafe for you, or that you know doesn't play well with your injury map, I want to make sure that you have the confidence to always know that you can say no, and to be confident saying, I have to do this modification, and that's all there is to it. And I know my body better than you do. I know its history better than you do, okay? That's our goal. That's our goal. All right, moving into hips and backs. It's interesting. I was watching the VODs and while I was editing them the other day, and just noticing, and again, you know, make no secret of the fact that my left hip is far more flexible than my right hip, and that obviously plays into this exercise a little bit, but there's just such a vast difference in positioning between doing this twist with my left leg versus my right leg, and it was really fascinating to look at. And honestly, video can be such a useful tool for us when we're trying to learn how to find our form. Video, what an incredible tool. Because, you know, mirrors are super useful, and I advocate for having mirrors in your workout spaces. You know, I have a lot of dance training, and that is absolutely what we do. Any dance studio that you go into is filled with mirrors, and you use that to pay attention to how your form looks. But, you know, there is a little bit of like quantum mechanic principle, you know, the observed thing changes, and you know, if I'm looking at myself doing an activity in the mirror, then that changes my form. Whereas if we're using video, I don't have to worry about looking at the camera while I do the exercise. I just have to do the exercise. And so I get a much clearer picture of what my form looks like. And I frankly have not taken nearly enough advantage of that particular ability, you know? And I definitely want to do that a lot more. And I want to recommend to you too. You know, obviously, I have talked about how one of the things that is harder about teaching in the way that I do via Twitch is that I don't get to help you with your form. You know, we're not in the same room. I'm not getting to see, you know, what your body positioning looks like when you do different exercises. So if you are needing that extra assistance, or, you know, feeling like there's an exercise that you just can't fully capture, or like, you know, you're doing the exercise and you're like, there's just something feels off in terms of what I'm doing compared to what they have described for the form, then set up your phone to record while you're doing class, while you're doing a workout, or literally just while you do that one exercise, you know, and watch that video back, and you can learn so much that you aren't necessarily going to pick up when you're just doing the exercises, even if you've been, you know, doing this type of class for ages, you know, regardless of your experience. There are still things that you're not going to be able to easily notice on yourself, and finding the tools that we can use to help ourselves identify what we want to work on is hugely important, okay? So, yeah, definitely I'm going to try to use that for myself a little bit more, and maybe not necessarily these streams, but when I'm doing, you know, just personal workouts, just trying to use video more frequently as a tool to just remind myself of the form that I'm going for, and to confirm whether I'm doing it correctly or whether there are adjustments I need to work on. Okay, so yeah, things to think about while we are working out in our homes, or more frequently in our homes. And you know, the nice thing about a class like this is that you're in one place for most of the time. You know, it's harder to use this particular approach when you're, say, running, because you'll be out of the frame almost immediately. And then you're like, well, unless I hire someone with a steady cam to run beside me the whole time while I'm out, I don't really have the ability to keep an eye or keep a video going. But a class like this, we are pretty much only focusing in on a mat-sized space, and you can aim a camera at a mat-sized space, and you can capture everything that's going on without losing any of it. All right, so yeah, definitely a benefit of this style of activity. All right, here we are, end of the warm-up. We've reached the burpees, making sure that you're doing a wave push-up, okay, and a nice big victory clap up at the top along with that jump. So make sure that it is a jump. So both feet leaving the floor. We're not just going up on the releve and coming down. Okay? Here we are. How are we feeling? Coming towards the end of class. We're not coming towards the end of class. We've just begun class. Class will be going on for a while. But we have come to the end of warm-up. And it's water time. All right, there we go. I have a plant directly behind a croton. Croton? Croton. I don't know how to pronounce the name, but I recently had to repot it because it had outgrown its previous space so badly that its roots were literally pushing the soil away from the walls of the pot. That was how big the root structure had gotten. So I'm just admiring it in its larger home, pleased to see it continuing to do pretty well. All right, we are just gonna do a bunch of 20-10 Tabatas today, all right? And 2 exercises each, and just see what we find out, all right? And this will be the structure that we carry with us through the rest of the month, and for the most part, the exercises that we carry with us through the rest of the month. That there will be adjustments made as as we increase timer lengths going forward and need to give ourselves fewer exercises that we can get done in more time. All right, so to start, first two exercises. Sorry, yawning a lot. First two exercises, we're gonna do skips right here in place, okay? Pretty self-explanatory. And then we're gonna do this full body sit-up. So lying extended on the ground, hands come above the head, contract the abdominal muscles so that you can sit all the way up, and then keep them contracted so that you can roll all the way down and up and down and up and down. Okay? So skips and full body sit-ups, that's what we're doing. All right. And timer is about to get going. Remember, the first sound does not mean go. That's our stop sound, our rest sound. And then we hear knock, and that tells us to get ready, because as soon as we hear the beginning of that fanfare, we're moving, all right? 20 seconds, not a lot of time. And we want to make sure that we are moving for all of it. So we don't wait until the fanfare is over. We don't want to be milling around and then go, oh my God, it started and I wasn't ready. We want to be able to go immediately upon hearing that sound. All right. And for something like this, obviously, it's a much bigger overall range of motion. So that does impact our overall speed in terms of how many reps I can get done in 20 seconds. So just remember to breathe and just go for whatever speed you can find. And then as you get more confident with the exercises themselves, then try to speed up a little bit more. And that's what we always want to do, right? As we become more familiar with the exercise, we can spend less time trying to consider how to perform the exercise and can put our focus instead into, okay, how do I speed up? How do I make the movement more efficient? How do I generate more power, etc., etc. All right? And that's one of the nice things about doing the same class structure for the next month, is that we really get an opportunity to focus in and to say, okay, I know this exercise like the back of my hand. What can I do to improve, increase, add power, whatever my focus is, okay? So today's our first day. This is us shaking hands and saying hello to the exercises. We don't need to worry nearly as much about, oh, what does our overall power and performance look like? Because even on days that trend more towards bare minimum days, we are getting more than enough of an exercise, of a workout, all right? Now when we're doing these skips, you want to make sure that you are on a safe surface, a padded surface that's going to be kinder to your joints. And when you're bringing your foot down from the hop, one of the things that I have to pay attention to for myself is trying not to slam the lifted leg back down to the ground, because that has a tendency to jam my knee. So just something for you to think about as we go forward. Good job, everybody. One set down, a bunch to go. And always remembering to drink plenty of water in the interim. It is lovely to see the tree turning. It's funny because it's turning from the top down. So when I'm just on my porch or in my kitchen, the leaves still all look totally green. All of the reddish purple leaves are at the top. So I didn't realize that it had turned so much. All right, next set. Let's do some push-ups. Always remembering that we can do whatever position we need to. We can do off the wall, incline off a piece of furniture. We can do full plank push-up. We can do full from the knee. We can do half wave, full wave. Just making sure two things, that our shoulders are directly over our wrists, and that as we bring ourselves down, we keep those elbows in nice and tight on the chest the whole time. We're not letting them fan out away from each other. And this just focuses the movement on our triceps, okay? So we've got push-ups and then we're gonna get up and we're gonna do some flying chickens. So feet together, hands, thumbs at chest height. If you wear a bra, you can hook your thumbs behind your bra straps. Jump. Just flapping away like a majestic chicken. All right. All right, everybody has had their water, is back on their mats. So we're doing push-ups and flying chickens. So there'll be a lot of getting up and sitting down, just like we did in the last one. Now for push-ups, we have a tendency to look down on different forms of push-ups, or to see them as less intense, less valuable, less impressive, all that stupid stuff. So I'm here to tell you that if you want to do push-ups from the knees, if you want to do push-ups off the wall, you are getting a valuable arm workout no matter which form you choose, okay? And you'll notice that when I teach, I will stick to push-ups from the knees. And it's something that I feel more comfortable keeping the form on, particularly for faster moving sets. So if I'm just doing push-ups on my own, I will usually do full plank. But for something like this, where I'm trying to move quickly and I know that my overall energy levels are being taxed more intensely, I will do push-ups from the knees.
because I feel more confident that I can maintain the form that way. All right? So never, ever, ever worry about the type of push-ups you're doing, because they are all valuable, I promise. And if you are struggling with your wrists, if you have wrist issues and need to keep them in a straight position rather than extending them by putting the palms on the ground, then fist, doing the push-ups from a fist can help. Or you can take a set of dumbbells and use them as push-up handles, basically, okay? Using handles will not keep your wrists as straight as they would be if you're going from the top of the fists, but it's all about what we can safely maintain, right? So whatever you feel comfortable with is what you should go for. All right? Checking in on this last round, making sure our form is just as good as it was in our first sets. Woo. This may mean that you slow down a little bit. This may mean that you're not doing as many reps. That's okay. All right? We build. That is what we're doing. We are building. We are not showing up here and expecting to be perfect right out of the gate. All right? Say it with me. Perfect is the enemy of good. Whoa, never seen that sad before. My stopwatch apparently has other modes that I had never even discovered. Isn't that always the way that so many discoveries happen? Not because we were looking for them, but because something completely incidental happened and it led us somewhere that we didn't expect. Like, yeah, there's so much to find in this world, and so much of it is found completely by accident, which is honestly kind of refreshing, because it means that we too can stumble on something beautiful or valuable or just breathtaking, you know? All right. Let's see here. Okay, we are gonna do squat jumps. We haven't done those in a while. Well, you can tell the exercises that I'm less crazy about, because there's the exercises that we tend to mysteriously forget about for a while. So, taking our feet about hip width apart, maybe slightly wider, squatting, jump, and land back in that squat position, and then repeat, okay? Making sure the knees are going straight over the feet without caving in towards each other. And if you can't maintain that without them caving towards each other, then narrow the stance a little bit, all right? And then we're gonna do TikToks, which we also haven't done in a while. Not because I don't like it, just because I found so many other ab exercises. So from a pike balance, hands together, arms straight to one side of the knees, extend out just far enough that I can bring them over, and up, out, and up, going back and forth. All right, so squat jumps and TikToks. there we have it, my friends. That's what we are doing right now. All right, again, remembering first sound does not mean go. Getting prepped. Remembering too that once we get into actually doing the exercises, the authority figure in class becomes the timer. I am no longer the authority figure because I get tired, I get distracted, I start talking about something totally different, and I miss the sound. So you're always focusing on, oh, I heard the thing, and now it's time to go. Remembering exhaling on the effort as a way to help us move through the more difficult components of an exercise, and also to give us a little bit more inspiration, cheering ourselves on, and just to remind us that our cardiovascular system is a huge part of this and needs to be activated. You need to make sure you're breathing the whole time. It's a lot easier to remember to breathe when you're doing cardio. So I don't worry as much about people like holding their breath while they're doing, squat jumps. But cardio is also where exhaling in the effort can be really helpful and can give us that boost, that extra pep in our stride, can help us to keep going for a couple more reps before we lose the form, okay? So just something to always keep in mind. I obviously can't demonstrate that as consistently as I would like because I'm also talking the whole time. So I don't really have the ability to do those types of breath exercises, but you can. So definitely make sure that you're checking in with yourself, checking in with your breath, and just keeping it going. Now, TikToks. What do we want to check? We want to make sure that it is the abdominals that are generating the movement, that I'm coming back to this pike balance, not because I'm pulling my legs towards me, but because I'm contracting my abdominal muscles, and that pulls my chest up and pulls my knees back towards me, okay? Our ab exercises are absolutely the place where we tend to lose our form the most. It's easy for us to compensate using other muscle groups, and yet, our abdominal muscles are so critical. They're critical stabilizing muscles, power generating muscles. They help us to twist. They help us to stand strong, to be able to carry a heavy weight without putting harmful pressure on other joints. So we want to do everything that we can to give them that strength and give them that power so that they in turn can help us to keep going. All right. Woo. Okay. Oh, water is so good. I hope you like water. It's so important. Gotta hydrate, my friends. Holy crap. How's everybody doing? I'm telling you, this is such a good class.
such a good class for me, and I am really excited to be here. And just, it's always good to have those reminders that no matter how your health has been on any given day, there is still the opportunity for some type of movement. May not be big movement, but something will help you feel better. And sometimes what our bodies are really yearning for is the ability to just sort of push and see what they can do, remind themselves of what they can achieve. And sometimes what our bodies are looking for is just a little bit of movement. And both of these are fine and great. And it's so important to honor what our bodies are telling us to do. All right, let's do another set. Hey, yeah. It's the intense thing about week 1 of programming for cardio, because it's so much 20 seconds, 20-second Tabata rounds, and so that just means that we can fit so many of them in. Oh, goodness. All right. So let's do our aerobics knees. So taking that same position that we did for the squat jumps, squat down, stand up onto one leg, lift the opposite knee, engage and contract those obliques to rotate the torso, and bring the opposite elbow down to that knee, and then squat, other side, squat, other side. And we just go back and forth, okay? And then our second exercise is going to be turtle plank. We haven't done that in a while. So turtle, roll up onto the feet, plant the hands, jump back to that plank, jump the feet forward, and repeat. All right? So remember, we want to jump back to the plank. We don't want to immediately go into any sort of a push-up, so you need to be able to jump and hold that position and then jump the feet back forward. Okay? All right, so aerobics knees and turtle planks. Hiya. Yeah, we don't do this one as frequently, but I am feeling it. It'll be a good opportunity to work on that shoulder strength. So everybody just making sure that you're paying attention to the strength and stability of your shoulders when you jump back into that plank position. And again, we have that exhale on the effort, helps us to remember to really contract those obliques, lift that knee up nice and high. All right, and the nice thing about the turtles is that they have a lot of momentum in them, which is why turtle planks can be a little trickier because we're halting the momentum when we jump back into that plank position. So there's still very much a rhythm and a momentum to them. You just have to make sure that you're not keeping it going past where the exercise is going. It's not a turtle wave, it's a turtle plank. All right? Woo! Never be afraid to cheer for yourself, okay? Always be up for being impressed by what you're achieving and expressing it loudly and not worrying about sounding silly or looking silly or anything like that.
Exercise, movement like this is inherently kind of ridiculous, you know? We're just sort of flinging our bodies around in random shapes, random directions, occasionally cheering, breathing really heavily, you know? It is a wonderful and also a ridiculous thing to do. And we want to always acknowledge and honor that ridiculousness and not worry about it or make ourselves feel ashamed of it, okay? That is one of the hardest lessons for us to learn, is not feeling ashamed, no matter how silly we feel doing an exercise, okay? And there are too many people who are, you know, socialized to feel like they're supposed to not sweat, not show any sort of emotion, not look ridiculous under any circumstances. And so step one is just reminding ourselves that that's bullshit and that we are going to look pretty silly, and that is totally okay. Woo! I mean, come on. We're rolling up on our shoulders in a ridiculous fashion. Okay. All right. Yeah. How we doing? How we doing? Whew. Look, all I'm saying is, if your water isn't below the halfway point yet, then you're not drinking enough water right now, okay? We are losing a lot of fluids, and it's important to replenish them not only after class, but before class and during class, okay? So just make sure that every time we're taking a rest, you're going right back to that water bottle or water mason jar or whatever you're using, okay? All right. Next set. What shall we do? Well, I think that we will do, we'll do our jump rope. So always remembering, you don't actually have to have a real jump rope. I wouldn't be able to use one in here anyway because it's a very low ceiling. We're just going to pretend. So we're going to hold our imaginary jump rope handles here, and we're going to rotate our arms as if we are rotating that jump rope, and then just jumping in place. Okay. Simple. And then second exercise is going to be shrimps, because I feel like we don't do those a ton anymore, and I always love good shrimp. So remembering this is a weird exercise, it's got a lot of moving parts. We start with this rock, this sort of boat rock position, and we want to make sure that every time our shoulders come up, we move them to the side, and every time our hips come up, we move them to the side, and we're just traveling back and forth along our mats, shoulders, then hips, shoulders, then hips, and I hit the end of the mat, and I go the other way, okay? So that's what we do, and that's what we're doing. Jump ropes and shrimps. Alrighty. Woo! I can't have my phone on the mat for that. because I'll roll right over it. And that wouldn't be good. Oh. All right. Getting ready, making sure we are on a nice padded surface for any jumping-based exercise like this, making sure that our core is engaged to help provide us that nice center line so that we're not moving around a ton on our mats as we do our jumping jacks. Okay? And now for the exact opposite, where we're moving around a ton on our mats and just going back and forth. And as you become more comfortable with the isolation of the exercise and the different components, you can speed up how fast you move from one side to the other. And if you're struggling with putting all of those different positions together, then you can start with just a simple boat rock and just visualize what you would be doing, okay? So nothing wrong with starting there, starting with boat rock and just thinking, okay, every time my shoulders come off the ground, I move them in this direction, and every time my hips come off the ground, I move them in this direction. And that visualization will help you to set the neural pathways needed to be able to turn the exercise into movement. Our imaginations are incredibly useful tools for any type of movement. Our imaginations help us to train our brain to know what it's supposed to do. Even if we're not yet able to translate what we're supposed to do into physical movements of our bodies. If you're not there yet, then start with your imagination. And I promise you, the more you use it to visualize what you're trying to do, the closer you will get to actually being able to implement it. And then when you come back and try the exercise again, you will discover that it feels a lot easier. that you're like, oh, I don't know why I didn't get it before. And well, the reason is that your brain didn't have a clear map yet of what it was supposed to be doing. And exercises like our kick-throughs or like our shrimps that have a lot of isolation of movement, you know, where I'm moving my entire body at the same time, but part of my body is moving in a totally different direction than the other part. You know, those exercises are always going to be a little trickier for us to pick up, and that's okay. All right. Woo! Good job, everybody. Oh, the sky is gorgeous out right now. I would hazard a guess that it's probably gorgeous everywhere. Oh, yeah. Strange to be going back into the season where it gets dark so much earlier, but that is a beautiful sky. All right, my friend. We are going to do one more set. Woo!
always, it's going to be our set that we can really just push ourselves, really challenge ourselves. You know, use the 20-second Tabata as the sprint that it's designed to be. We don't have to hold back any of our energy because we've reached the end of class. We've reached the final countdown. All right, and for this last set, we are just going to do one exercise, but I'm going to let you choose what that exercise is, okay? And the list of things you can choose from, you can do kick-throughs, you can do burpees, or you can do our high knee runs. So just jumping back and forth from one foot to the other, trying to bring those knees up above the hip crease in the hips or as high as you can get them, okay? So you're only doing one exercise for 8 rounds, so you'll have to really focus in. But this is our last time, so just choose an exercise off that list, and we're getting ready to go. And remember, whatever you choose, you're sticking with it. Burpees, kick-throughs, or high knee runs. And we are off. And again, this is the end of class. So we are no longer worrying about, okay, I need to make sure that I'm maintaining my energy for whatever comes next, because nothing's coming next. This is the last of it. So just really, this is the time, this is the end of the half marathon. You've done 13 miles. You see the finish line. You've got that final 0.1 to travel. And we look inside ourselves and we find that last pocket of energy that we didn't know we still had. And we grab it and we bring it forth, because we know we can see that finish line. We can see the tunnel with all our friends and family there cheering us on. And we know that we can find that energy and use it for just that last burst to get us across the finish line, okay? And that's the image that I always use, but it's so effective, because here we are. We have done an hour of class, and you know, it's not been the kind of straight shot activity that running is. You know, running is an activity where once we start, the goal is to not stop until we reach our destination. Not so with this. This is a lot of starting and stopping and sprinting and resting, and sometimes it can feel a little overwhelming to figure out where we are, what we're supposed to be focusing on, how we are supposed to maintain energy when we're going back and forth like that. And that is the goal of this type of exercise, this type of class. All right? We're training our bodies to be able to move back and forth between these two modalities, between extreme movement and extreme rest, okay? And we're doing a great job, honestly. Such a great job. And yeah, it's hard. And yeah, it can feel like it takes a ton of time to really get there. But everything that we do is helping to train our bodies and to build their skill
stamina and build their power. All right? So we're heading into our final round. I want you to get your cheerleader out, put her on the floor, next to the mat, next to your TV or computer, however you're watching the stream. They're doing their best floor routine because you have just made it through an hour of high intensity interval training and you have kicked ass, taken names, and you are about to earn your rest. Good job. Good job, everybody. Dang. Okay. I'm not going to do a huge stretch today. Again, we're still building back the full structure, but my quads could use a bit of a stretch. So let's do my favorite quad stretch. So for the leg that's going to be stretching, we want to fold it so the heel is on the outside of the hip, but we want to pull it in towards the hip as close as we can. The other knee just sort of opens up, chills right there. It's not really doing anything, okay? And now that our working leg is in this position, we don't want to let the knee pull up from the ground, okay? And we are just going to slowly let our torsos backwards only as far as we need to feel a nice stretch in the quad. And that stretch can get really intense really fast. So we want to move slowly so that we don't accidentally activate the muscle and cause it to try to contract. And I want you to be really honest with yourselves. So if you only have to go here to get that stretch, cool, stay there, all right? If you can come down to your elbows, awesome. Or maybe you're able to make it all the way down to the floor. There's no right answer. We just want to make sure that you are able to hold that stretch and deepen it without it feeling overwhelming, okay? So once you've found your position, settle in, try and sink into the stretch a little bit, and now we are going to take 4 deep breaths. And each time I inhale, I'm going to visualize the oxygen going to wherever I'm feeling the most intensity of sensation. And each time I exhale, I'm going to try to settle a little more deeply into the stretch. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And 4. And now we will carefully walk ourselves back up to seated. Don't move this leg under its own steam. I want you to take one hand to the knee, one hand to the ankle, manually lift it up, manually fold it around, extend the leg in front of you, bring the other leg to meet it, shake out those knees, flex the feet, and point, and flex, and point, circle the ankles in one direction, and then the other direction. All right, and now other side. All the same notes apply. Remember, we are not symmetrical creatures, so you may be able to go down farther on this side, or you may not be able to go down as far. Either one is fine, okay? Either one is totally fine. Whatever you're able to do, find your position, settle into it a little bit, try and sink into it a little bit, feel that stretch, intensify it a little bit, and now we're going to take those same 4 Deep breaths. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And 4. And we will slowly walk ourselves back up to seated. One hand to the knee, one hand to the ankle. Manually unfold, extend. Bring the other leg to meet. Shake out those knees. Flex the feet. And point. And flex. And point. Circle the ankles in one direction. And then the other direction. Oh, and we're going to stop there for tonight. Always remember, of course, that is merely the beginning of stretching. And if you are like, I need to stretch more, please keep stretching. Post-workout stretching, super important, super helpful for just caring for our bodies, helping to relax them, helping to stretch out, sort of even out the impact on the muscles. So if you have a muscle that's been contracting a ton over the course of a workout, getting to lengthen it out, very useful. Increasing our flexibility, also incredibly useful. And it's easier to do that when our muscles are already super warmed up, okay? This is why we save the static stretching for the end of class. We do stretching in our warm-up, but it's active stretching. We're moving in and out of a position. We get into the stretch for a second, but we don't hold it for a ton of time, okay? So now is the time when we really can dig in and do some of that flexibility work, okay? My friends, thank you. I needed this so much. Thanks for being here. Thanks for letting me be honest about how my day was and for helping to be a beacon for me to remind myself that I was going to be able to exercise, I was going to be able to move, and that was going to make me feel better, because it has. It has definitely made me feel better. Get some water. Let's finish up our water, yeah? I'm almost there. You should always make sure to finish that water and then go and refill it. Start hydrating, okay? All right, so we have one more class this week. It's going to be functional home fitness on Friday at 5:30 Mountain Time, where we do weight training using objects you can find around the house. That will also be the beginning of a month-long program. So just come prepared for that. Come prepared for some strength training. And we will potentially get some bonus weekend kickoff classes during the month of October. I'll let you know. I may surprise, they may be pop-up classes, for lack of a better term. So, just keep an eye on the socials. But our Wednesday and our Friday classes are fixed right now. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All those handles are in my end cards, but they're all variations on Blanche Case Fitness. My YouTube channel is where I upload all the VODs from these streams, so you never have to miss a class, even if you can't make the live cast. So definitely head over there and subscribe. If you want to help support me financially making these streams, I have a coffee account for one-time donations, or you can subscribe to this channel. And if you want to help me keep growing this community, then please tell your friends, loved ones, coworkers, anyone looking for an awesome class. I stream 2 days a week right now, but we have a great community, and the more the merrier. All right, finish up that water. Go take that celebratory post-workout shower, because you deserve it. Make sure to get yourself a good dinner, start replenishing those glycogen stores, and I will see you all back here again on Friday. Mwah. Have a great night.